What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, I'm bringing you some keys to victory for the Indianapolis Colts this weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we hop into it, guys, just want to say this episode is sponsored by FanDuel. Right now, if you're looking at passing yards, because we know the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've had some difficulties against some quarterbacks in the last few weeks that they've been playing. So Daniel Jones, the mark right now, I believe, is at 250 and a half for passing yards. And, that's a pretty good number. I would say that's a pretty good number. That's about what I would expect for Daniel Jones. But then again, the last 2 weeks, both of those quarterbacks, Joe Flacco and Jordan Love, both threw for season highs against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers have given up 4 different season highs to quarterbacks this year. So this could very well be a situation that the Indianapolis Colts should take advantage of. But we'll continue to keep talking about that, but shout out to FanDuel for sponsoring. First things first here, I think the number one aspect to a key to victory here, you have to find ways to make Rodgers uncomfortable, okay? While Aaron Rodgers has not been, lighting the league on fire, he has shown you that he still has something about his game that he can still get an advantage on you. He does have 1,500 passing yards on the season. I know it's 7 games. It's not like it's anything crazy, but he is being consistent. He's not turning the football over a lot. He is making good plays, and the offense has been able to move the ball quite a bit. So we have to find ways to make Rodgers uncomfortable. Now, number one way you can do that is by getting pressure on Rodgers. Now, the only problem with that is in this matchup, that offensive line for the Steelers has not been bad this year. They've been pretty solid. And we know that this pass rush with the front 4 alone has not been enough. It's not been enough for a lot of games. So obviously, the Colts are going to have to find ways to blitz Rodgers. They got to try to find ways to get creative with that pass rush. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, not a great escape artist, not a quarterback that's going to make a lot of plays with his feet. I'm not saying he can't do it, but he doesn't do it as effectively as some other quarterbacks. So if you could collapse that pocket in around him, or even try to force him to try to scramble, you get him in a good position. And, of course, with blitzing comes the idea of Lou Anarumo being creative on defense. You obviously want to be creative because if Rodgers knows somebody's blitzing, or if Rodgers is picking up on blitzes well or picking up on coverages well, then it doesn't matter what the Steelers are going to run. The Steelers are going to find ways to move the ball down the field because, again, Aaron Rodgers is a very smart quarterback. He knows how these things work. He's not going to beat you over the top all day like he usually does, but he can definitely hit the underneath stuff wherever he needs to. It's just been like Daniel Jones this year. He knows where to go with the football. So you're going to have to be creative. If you're going to send blitzes, you got to be exotic in your coverages. If you're not going to bring blitzes, you can't allow Rodgers to just throw all the stuff underneath and just have this bend but don't break defense. You're going to have to find ways to get him to be uncomfortable, whether that's mixing up coverages or sending blitzes. Both ways, it's got to get done, or else Rodgers is going to have himself a field day against this Colts defense. And again, this Colts defense has been great over the last several weeks, but it definitely will be a new challenge going up against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Now, I mean, we did pretty solid against Justin Herbert. I know the numbers were insane for him in that. He had a career high in passing yards. Obviously, in the second half, that was going crazy because the Colts were up by 23 at one point. But as long as you're not doing that, then we can win this game. Now, the only things here is continuing to keep balance offensively. That's going to be another thing here. Now, I know that Colts fans have not always been the happiest about how Shane Steichen has called the offense this year. Most notably, the Colts typically throw the football a lot more in the first half than running the football. And then they run the football a lot more in the second half. It goes back again to Shane's philosophy. We're throwing to score and then running to win. And that has worked this year so far. It will continue to work too. Like we said, guys, I mean, this Pittsburgh Steelers defense has given up, I think it's either them or the Cowboys that have some of the worst, that have the worst passing defense in the National Football League. That's insane. I mean, because again, you talk about how much money has been invested into this defense, and it has not worked for them. It is not. They're not getting after the quarterback consistently. They are not playing great defense on the back end. So obviously, and then of course, I mean, they give up like the most yards in the National Football League from a defense altogether. So I think there's a few teams that give up more rushing yards than they do, but they give up far and away the number one passing yards, and then they're very close in rushing yards too. So, of course, both sides of the ball got to eat, or both parts of the offense got to eat. Of course, you got to run the football. Of course, you got to pass it, but you have to make sure that you are passing that football. If you're able to pass that football, it is going to open things up in that run game to allow Jonathan Taylor to continue to keep doing what he's doing, because you're going to be facing a good front this week. You're going to be facing a really talented front seven. Now, and obviously that front seven hasn't really been doing much this year, but that doesn't matter. It's still talented. And you got to take serious consideration to that. So Colts, they need to be balanced offensively. Now, that doesn't mean you run, pass, run, pass, run, pass, this sort of thing. It just may mean at some points you have to throw the football a lot and then run few, or you have to run the ball a lot, pass few. You know, it just depends on how it works. But something's got to be done about that too. Keep the ball moving. And honestly, the one and only other thing here is win the turnover battle. Do not turn the football over. Now, the Indianapolis Colts, they have done a fantastic job this year at not turning the football over. I don't even know how many turnovers the Colts actually have. I mean, I'm looking at just the stats altogether. I mean, Daniel Jones only has 3 interceptions on the year, and then the Colts haven't lost a single fumble this year. So, I mean, honestly, that's quite impressive to say the least. So, I mean, again, you're not having turnovers. Usually the Colts are winning turnover battles against most teams. And when you're facing a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, say what you will about their defense, they've obviously been terrible for a lot of the few weeks, but nevertheless, they do they do force turnovers. They are definitely an opportunistic bunch. Colts need to take advantage of that. Colts need to be smart about that too. You don't want to be too pretty on some of this, okay? Sometimes you just have to make the right play. Even if it doesn't result in a huge gain, you just have to be smart with the football. You do not want to give the Steelers a better field day on these sorts of things. And the Colts have been great this year at not letting that happen. The only real time that the Colts haven't really done that and winning the turnover battle was against the Rams. And that's the only team this year that we haven't beaten in the turnover differential. So if the Colts can do that, if they can just not turn the ball over, again, you're going to allow your offense to keep scoring points, and then it keeps the defense from being in bad situations. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. That's my keys to victory for this upcoming matchup with the Colts and the Steelers. Let me know your thoughts. Check out FanDuel. Thank you to them. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, Colts.